We'd like to welcome you to BMORENEWS.com. We're sorry to interrupt you, Senator Cathy Pugh. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Good. What are you working on?
Well, we've got the Family Planning Act today, which um, will allow more people, more females, to be covered for family care. And what that will do is provide care for about 33,000 more women in the state of Maryland, Medicaid care that will allow them to get assistance so before they get pregnant. And what it will help do is avoid unintended pregnancies, because oftentimes what we do is we provide services for women after they've had a child or an unintended pregnancy. But with this particular piece of legislation, we extend Medicaid care to women 200% above the federal poverty level. So this will cover them, and they will be able to be educated and get information. And we believe that this will save millions of dollars for the state of Maryland. So I'm really excited about that particular piece of legislation. And then we're doing another piece of legislation today to provide some type of regulations for both male and females who end up in mental institutions, because what we found is that there are a number of women who suffered rape as a result of being in these institutions where males and females will share the same floors and doors are left unlocked. So we're asking the state to set up regulations so that we can not have these kinds of situations occur. I've got about 4 other pieces of legislation going on today. One is to deal with, I thought you probably heard about, the investigation into the stents, where we provided too many stents for people who didn't really need them. That's heart surgery. And so we've got some legislation in asking for regulations on that, to have an independent body go in and investigate hospitals and make sure that people don't end up with unnecessary stents. And then I have another set of legislation looking at co-occurring conditions where people who have mental illness and or have drug addiction, and they end up in these homes that are supposed to provide them with home care and that kind of thing. But what we want to do is make sure that the state sets up some type of regulations, because what we've also understood through the investigation that was done by the Baltimore Sun, that oftentimes people who have just become clean, maybe 2, 3 months, are involved in providing care for these individuals. And we just think that you need to be at least a year clean. We also believe that those homes ought to be regulated. We do that for assisted living facilities, but there are no guidelines here. And there's several other states that have provided those guidelines. So what we're asking the state to do is to provide those regulations. So kind of exciting, interested to see how the bills will go. So I'll be here for a while
How's the
today.
Black Caucus agenda going?
Absolutely great. We've set up our redistricting committee. We're looking at trying to make sure that we provide guidelines for the state in terms of making sure that adequate representation is made by African Americans after we draw the redistricting lines, because as you well know, the growth has gone down into the Prince George's County area, where they only have 3 African American senators. We currently have 5 African American senators in Baltimore City. We've lost about 30,000 in population, so we're going to have to see how we figure that out in terms of continuing our strong representation by some of the great people that are representing Baltimore here in the state of Maryland.
What should Baltimore know? Because all we know is some of the things we hear on television about Negro Mountain and about somebody being in the Tea Party and then, you know, holding up the
There's a
gay
lot. I
marriage
mean,
legislation
well,
for
there
Baltimore City Public Schools. We don't know what to think in Baltimore.
Well, there are a lot of great things going on here in Annapolis. We're going to do everything we can to protect education funding, especially for the city of Baltimore. The way that the governor presented the budget, it actually takes about $100 to $150 away per student. It's called flat funding, and we're not, we're really not pleased with that. So we're going to be doing everything we can to fight for that particular funding for our schools. We've got a lot of good things going on with the Black Caucus. I'm very organized, as you well know. We're working on next year's agenda, actually working on this year's Legislative Black Caucus weekend, focusing on building wealth again in the African American community, because we think that it's just so essential in terms of helping to move our city forward. We've got to create more opportunities for African Americans to do business, and I think that folks in the business community would agree with me that the more we can grow African American businesses, certainly the greater it will be for our city as we continue to move our city forward.
Well, we're glad that you keep talking about black business. We'd like to hear that a little more
Well,
resoundingly
it's
throughout.
just not African American businesses. It's really the collaboration between other parts of our community, because sometimes collaborations help us to grow as well. And so I'm talking about being able to build a table where everybody can sit around and carve out their pieces and then do some things together that I think will be to the benefit of all of us.
Well, thank you for your support of our community.
Thank you.
One and only State Senator Cathy Pugh. Keep watching BMORENEWS.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.